Hello, my name is Ben and welcome to another TV Parts Today repair video. In today's video, we are going to be covering lightning strikes and power surges. If you feel that your TV is having issue after a power surge or a lightning strike, we here at TV Parts Today likely have a quick and inexpensive repair solution. We are going to be going over some troubleshooting techniques. We're going to be covering the symptoms that your TV could be experiencing. We are going to have some examples of boards that have been hit by a power surge. We're going to do some swaps so that you can see us actually taking those parts out of TVs and swapping the new parts in. And then finally, we'll be going over some preventative measures that we can take to ensure that our TVs are not experiencing damage from power surges in the future. There are a couple of different ways that a power surge can reach the components in our set. The first and most common way, I would assume, is from the TV being plugged directly into the wall with no surge protector present. The power surge is going to travel up through that power cord and it's going to hit most likely the power supply board. Another way that we can experience damage to our television is through secondary electronic devices. If we have a game system or a DVD player or a cable box plugged into our television that is not on a surge protector, a power surge can travel through those devices, through the connecting wires, and hit our main board. An HDMI connection, coax connection, the audio jacks. And it is important to note that in some situations, power surge can cause damage to both the main board and the power supply. There are some troubleshooting techniques that we can use to try and diagnose the state of the television before we open it up. Now, we don't want to use this as a surefire way to tell what part is wrong in our television, but it can help us get pointed in the right direction. So if your TV is experiencing an absolute loss of power, that means we have no power to the set at all, no backlights, no standby light, most likely what we're going to be looking at is damage on the power supply board. So when we open up that TV, we'll want to take a look at that board specifically first to see if we can't see any signs of scorching damage. Now, the other thing that we're going to be looking for is a TV that has partial power. So we're not getting any functionality to the set, but we are seeing a standby light or a flickering backlight. Now, this could give us an idea of the main board being the culprit here. The power surge would have traveled through a connecting wire and hit that main board. So we would be looking for scorching damage or some sort of burn damage on that part specifically. Next, I'd like to showcase a couple of boards, a main board and power supply specifically, that have some scorching damage so that we know what we're looking for when we actually get inside of the television. The first example that we have here is a main board, and you can see this USB port right in the middle. It has some pretty extensive scorching damage, and you can also see the discoloration on the board underneath it. That's what we're going to be looking for, and that could be happening on an HDMI port, that could be happening on a coax connection or an Ethernet connection. Wherever that power surge entered the television from is the component that is going to be damaged. The next example we have here is a power supply board, and you can see this dark discoloration on the board. That's indicative of damage from a power surge or a lightning strike. Now, we're not necessarily going to see this always in the same place. It could be on the power connection where the external power cord meets the actual power supply, but it is something to look out for, this damage specifically. The next example that I wanted to give you was actually of this clip. So this is a shot of inside one of the clips on a power supply board. And you can see that top right pin has some discoloration and scorching around it. This can be much more extreme in the case of a lightning strike, but this is the kind of damage that we can look for inside of ports to tell if there is damage to a board without actually having to put any sort of expensive testing equipment to the board. So we wanted to give you guys a couple quick examples of exactly how easy it is to get these parts out of the back of a TV. We're going to start here with the power supply, and you can see there is some scorching here on the chassis. This could be indicative of there being a power surge. Let's just assume that this board is bad. Now, before we start any of this process, before we take the back off the TV, there are a couple things that you want to keep in mind. First and foremost, you want to make sure that the unit is unplugged from the wall, and then you can hold the power button on the television down for 60 seconds, and you can drain all the energy out of these capacitors just to make sure that everything is going to be safe when we're working in the back of this TV. So our first step with getting this power supply free is we want to get these two clips taken out and away from the board. So this guy right here, we're going to pinch down on the two clips on the right and left side, and we're going to walk it right out of there. This guy, we're going to depress the lever with our thumbnail or our thumb, and we're just going to pull it right out. Now we have 4 screws, and this board should come away. So after we get our screws away, we want to make sure that we're putting them in a place where we remember where they are. We can lift this board up and away, set it off to the side, and we can grab our TV Parts Today replacement power supply. We want to make sure that we have the orientation correct here. It should set. There's a little guide hole right here with a little nubbin that just slides right into it. Then we want to get our screws put back into the board. After our screws are in place, we've got the 2 clips to replace. Slides right in, no problem. Slides right in, no problem. And that is a swapped power supply. This is the exact same main board that we had used for the example where the USB port here is all messed up. It's got some rusting. This board needs to be changed. So I've got my TV Parts Today replacement part right here. First thing that we're gonna do is get all of the clips removed off of this board. So this one, we just pull this tab up, slide it out. Right here, we're gonna pinch these 2 sides down, pull it right out. This one's got a clip, like a little lever on the top that we depress with our thumb, walk it out. This one right back behind these component connections here, we're gonna pop this ribbon cable connection up with our fingernail. And these can be a little tricky, but you just wanna very gently finagle it out of that slot. So now what we wanna do is get these 4 screws taken out, and we'll get our new board in there. So we do wanna keep track of those screws. We don't wanna lose them. We wanna make sure that we've got them right where we need them. Board just comes right out. We take our replacement TV Parts Today board. We're gonna line it up right where we had our old part there. Then we're gonna start with the screws, putting those screws right back where they went. All right, so after we get the screws back in place, we're gonna start with these clips again. We're just gonna walk this ribbon cable connection in there, put the little flap down so it's making a good connection. This guy can just slide right back in. Same thing with this dude, just put it right back in there. It's gonna be really similar style to the very first one that we did. We just wanna make sure very gently that we're getting it lined up. Walk it in there all the way to where it's snug, and then push it down, and that's a replaced mainboard. Finally, I'd like to go over some preventative measures that we can take to ensure that our TV is not being damaged by a power surge or during an electrical storm. The first method that we can use is just to ensure that our television, as well as all secondary electronic devices, are plugged into a surge protector. This will most likely trip the surge protector first, preventing any damage to our television during an electrical storm or if there's a power surge at your house. The second method that we can use is to just unplug all of our electronic devices if we think there's going to be a power surge or during an electrical storm. But while this is a little bit more tedious, it is going to ensure that under no circumstances are any of our electronic devices going to be damaged by a power surge. All right, that should do it for today's video. I'd like to urge anyone with any more questions, you can call into our office at 930-212-1975. You can contact us by email at info@tvpartstoday.com, or you can head over to our website at www.tvpartstoday.com and check out our Wizard of TV Repair. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.